Our neighborhood had been a mess for years thanks to the HOA president, Karen. She treated the subdivision like her private kingdom, issuing citations for things like parking too close to the curb or planting the wrong shade of tulips. But what she pulled last Friday night crossed a line no one thought she'd ever dare cross. My son, Jake, just turned 16. He was walking home from a friend's house after a football game, hoodie on, backpack slung over one shoulder, rear buds in. Nothing unusual. But as he turned down our street, a white SUV with stenciled HOA security enforcement screeched to a halt in front of him. Two men in black tactical-looking vests jumped out. They had badges clipped to their belts, shiny but cheap, and radios that didn't even work. "You there! Stop!" one barked. Jake froze, pulling his rear buds out. Can I help you?" "You're loitering in a restricted area," the taller one snapped. "This neighborhood has a curfew. You're under arrest." Jake laughed nervously. "Curfew? I live here." "Don't get smart," the other growled. They grabbed him by the arms and shoved him toward the SUV. Meanwhile, I was at home pacing. Jake was late, and I had that gut feeling only a parent knows. Then my phone rang. It was Jake, whispering into the line. "Dad, some security guys put me in their car. They say they're with the HOA. I felt my blood run cold. "Stay calm. Don't hang up. I'm coming." But before I could grab my keys, another voice cut in, my wife, Emily. She had just walked through the door from a long day at work, still in her blazer. Emily wasn't just my wife. She was the district attorney. When I explained what happened, she didn't hesitate. "Call 911 right now. Tell them we've got impersonators making an unlawful arrest." Within minutes, real police cruisers pulled onto the street, lights flashing. They boxed in the HOA just as the fake officers were about to drive off with my son. Jake bolted out of the car and ran into Emily's arms. "Mom!" The imposters started shouting, waving their fake badges. "We're authorized HOA security. He was trespassing." Emily stepped forward, her DA credentials in hand. Her voice was like ice. "You two are under arrest. You just kidnapped a minor under the guise of law enforcement. That's a felony." The cops immediately cuffed a pair. One officer muttered, "Unbelievable. These clowns actually thought this would fly." Karen, of course, showed up minutes later in her bathrobe, screaming at the top of her lungs. "You can't do this. They work for me. This neighborhood is private property, and we enforce the rules." Emily turned on her with a kind of glare that could silence a courtroom. "Karen, not only do you have no legal authority to arrest anyone, but hiring imposters to detain residents makes you complicit. If you don't stop talking, I'll have you arrested right now for conspiracy to kidnap a minor." Karen's jaw dropped. For the first time in years, she was speechless.
The fallout was swift.
The fake HOA cops were charged with impersonating law enforcement, unlawful restraint, and attempted kidnapping. Their SUV was impounded, and when investigators traced their paychecks, they found Karen had authorized the funds out of HOA accounts. By the following week, Emily's office had filed charges against Karen herself: conspiracy, misuse of funds, and reckless endangerment. The board voted her out unanimously. Jake, meanwhile, became something of a legend at school. His friends nicknamed him the kidnapped quarterback, not the title I wanted for him, but he wore it like a badge of honor. That night, when things calmed down, Jake asked me, "Dad, what if Mom hadn't come home when she did?" I hugged him tight. "That's why you don't mess with the law, son, and why you definitely don't mess with your mom." Emily overheard and smirked, pouring herself a glass of wine. "Next time Karen tries something, maybe she'll remember I don't just argue the law. I am the law." Karen hasn't shown her face in weeks. And now, every time I see the private property, no soliciting sign by the HOA office, I can't help but chuckle. Because in this neighborhood, the only law that matters is the one that comes from my wife's office downtown.